Hey everyone, thanks for watching. This is Yuri Rashkin, and you're watching my Rashkin Report Substack or Rashkin Report Perspectives channel on YouTube. Either way, welcome. Hit like and subscribe. Let me tell you something that becomes clearer every week. We're living in a world redesigned by people who can't take responsibility, don't understand consequences, and don't believe in institutions. And now, these same people are claiming they can deliver peace in Ukraine. If only it were funny. Let's start from the surreal. Trump sent Steve Witkoff, a Manhattan developer, and Jared Kushner, yes, that Jared, to negotiate an end to the largest war in Europe since World War II. These are not diplomats. They're not strategists. They're not even curious. They are people whose main skill is being close to Trump. And when you understand that, everything else suddenly becomes very clear and makes sense. Trump's team came to Kyiv and said, we have a peace plan, 19 points, everything is ready, 10 meters to victory. 10 meters, like this is a football game, not a genocidal war. What's in this peace plan? The same thing Moscow has always wanted from day one. Ukraine gives up NATO, Ukraine gives up Donbass, Ukraine reduces its army so Russia can attack later with less trouble. That's not a peace plan. That's a surrender document written by the country that invaded you. But here's the trick. Trump's people don't actually care if the plan works. They care about something else: blame. They need someone to blame when their 10 meters turns into a dead end. So when Ukraine says, no, we're not giving away our territory, Trump can turn around and say, see, we tried. Ukraine is unwilling. It's their fault. This entire performance is not about peace. This is a blame transfer operation. And while Witkoff is being toured around Moscow admiring Stalin's skyscrapers like they're symbols of strength instead of symbols of fear, Europe watches this circus and understands exactly what it means. The United States is no longer the anchor of the Western world. At least not under this administration. That's why Kyiv is suddenly moving much closer to Europe. Not because Europe is perfect, because Europe, unlike Trump's team, still believes in rules, institutions, agreements, treaties, and something called responsibility. Trump world believes in something else entirely. The world of hustlers, grifters world, the world of deals, the world of who pays me, who praises me, who protects me. This is why Russia is suddenly framed not as the aggressor, but as a useful partner for stability. This is why NATO ministers now talk more to Zelensky than Washington does. This is why Europe is preparing for a future where Ukraine's security doesn't depend on the United States, because reliability has evaporated. And we should be honest, Ukraine has handled this diplomatic insanity impressively. Every time they get dragged into a new pressure session, they manage to stay calm, avoid insulting anyone, maneuver between Washington and Europe, and still defend their red lines. Frankly, I don't know many countries that could do that in the middle of a war. But let's zoom out for a moment, because this is not only about Ukraine. This is about the entire architecture of global stability falling apart. And not because it was broken, but because one man prefers deals over laws. Look at Thailand and Cambodia. Trump supposedly ended their war a few months ago. A handshake, a photo, a press release. And now they're shelling each other again. That's the Trump doctrine. Patch the roof with a sticker, wait for the rain, and blame someone else for the leak. Look at Venezuela. We're told the U.S. might strike targets there, but is this about democracy, human rights, regional stability? No, it's about resources and leverage, and Trump's need to look strong without actually doing anything that requires courage or consistency. Look at Hexet, the war secretary whose alleged order to kill survivors of a blown-up narco boat is now being explored in Congress. War crimes without a declared war. That's new level of American innovation. Democrats saw an opening and ran toward it because in Trump world, incompetence is not a bug, it's a feature. The whole team functions like a group project where nobody knows the assignment, but everyone still wants their name on the cover page and nobody wants to take blame or responsibility when it fails. Meanwhile, Trump is in trouble at home. His approval rating is collapsing. Fox News is saying it out loud. He's canceling White House events to run around the country telling Americans that prices aren't rising because he saw a meme on Truth Social saying inflation is fake. Trump's living in a bubble, literally and politically. Bulletproof glass at rallies, Fox News loops on the TV, and a shrinking circle of people who tell him what he wants to hear. He used to get feedback from rally crowds. Now he gets feedback from Jared and the algorithms of Truth Social. And here's the biggest irony. Trump needs popularity not because he wants to govern, but because he wants a Congress he can control, a Congress that won't investigate or impeach him, a Congress that won't reopen aid to Ukraine, or a Congress that won't question his deals with authoritarians. Meanwhile, Democrats don't even need to be extraordinary this cycle. They just need to be not Trump. And for many Americans, that is already enough. Now, let's return to the issue nobody in the White House wants to talk about, the Epstein files. Congress voted to release them. Trump signed it because, he has to be with the winner, the leader. He didn't want to be the one saying no. But now everything is silent. Why? Because the moment those names come out, it won't just be the Democrats, of course, in the spotlight. It will be Republicans. It will be donors. It may very well include people Trump truly doesn't want to be reminded of. So we have two possibilities: hide behind national security, black out names, release a useless document, or say, sorry, there's an ongoing investigation, we can't publish anything now. Either way, transparency loses and America loses a little more of its last shreds of credibility. Which brings me to the real global consequence of all of this. Countries like Thailand, Cambodia, Venezuela, Russia, even US allies are watching how the United States behaves. Not what we say, what we do. And what they see is this: America under Trump is not a stabilizing force. It is a transactional force, a bully some days, a bystander others, and a bargaining chip always. So they adjust. They fight wars they wouldn't fight before. They challenge borders they wouldn't challenge before. They experiment because their referee left the stadium, bought a hot dog, and is now arguing with a hot dog vendor about tariffs. The world has entered what I call the grifters' world, mir barig, the world of hustlers, not leaders. And in that world, everything becomes negotiable. Territories, alliances, security guarantees, even accountability for war crimes. But here's the part the world doesn't fully understand yet. The grifter's peace ends the moment America decides to end it. Because the only thing more powerful than Trump's chaos is the American voter who finally gets tired of the show. For Ukraine, for Europe, for democracy, for global stability, the U.S. returning to reality is the biggest geopolitical event possible. Until then, we live in the world of deals, not values, of pressure, not partnerships, of improvisation, not strategy. And that world is not stable. It's not safe and it's not sustainable, but it is temporary. And when it ends, everyone will remember who stood for responsibility and who stood for the quick deal. If you agree, hit like and subscribe. My name is Yuri Rashkin and this is Rashkin Report. Thanks for watching and freedom to all people.